Everything is made up, and I mean everything. The rules in our society are made up. The standards in our society are made up, and I'm talking about in all of the different cultures across history. And even those ideas, the words that they are constructed with, are all made up. But we live in words. We live in these concepts, and we forget that everything we have been taught and everything we think is right or wrong based on what we saw online, what our parents told us, what our teachers told us, what anyone tells us, is completely made up. And it is very obvious when you look at the world from a zoomed out lens. Like when you look at different cultures, it's very easy to see that in one culture, being extremely skinny is the ideal. In other cultures, it is the opposite. Having a fuller body is the idea. And not only does this change between cultures, it changes over timelines, like history in the same cultures, and in identities. Like in some cultures, LGBTQ plus individuals are celebrated. In other ones, they are punished by death. In some cultures, neurodivergent people have been put on this like pedestal as like partially still in the spiritual realm and allowing us to understand more about ourselves. But in other places, they are frowned upon, or in a workplace, they are seen as difficult. And in business, you have the same thing. Like there are some people who argue you need to sell services, some argue you need to sell digital products, some argue you need to start a community, and every single one of them points to the other and says, that is not the right way to do it. My way is the right way. And you'll also hear people talking about social media, like you have to post consistently, like every single day, or, make content for one type of person and like talk about a niche. But then you see examples of people who post not regularly, have a shit ton of people following them, and they're not even talking about the same subject across every article or video that they're making. Like, how can that be possible? The only way is that it's all made up. But everybody talks about their specific thing as if it is the gospel. And some of this is because that is what worked for them. And they are genuinely able to say from a place of clarity that this works. And so they say it with this earned conviction that lets people who are still in the gray area of not knowing what is the right way to glom onto that, because the conviction that they hear makes them think that is correct. If this person has such conviction, it must be correct. And that's the whole point of this video, is that there is no right way, no one way to do anything. And I mean anything. There's no one right way to lose weight. There's no one right way to have a relationship, to find a relationship, to start a business, to have social media, to take care of your garden, to paint, to write. Like, it's all made up, and it all comes down to what works for you. Like all these people online talking about the right way, or all these like laws passed down to us, it's like they are turning back to their younger selves and telling them what works. But you are not their younger self. You're your own individual with your own preferences and mindset and skills and abilities and interests and boundaries and requirements. And it really just comes down to what works for you. Like everyone's rules are just someone's best guess. And the crazy part about having access to the internet is that at this point is that you can find a lot of people talking about the same rules from a lot of different perspectives. So some people will say, this is 100% true. The next group will say that is 100% false. And it's just like for every single thing you could possibly think of, this is happening. Like everyone's arguing for an infinite amount of perspectives out there. And, in regards to the internet, one of the things that I've come to realize is that life is like the internet. You get what you search for. You can literally find examples of anything. You can find examples of the positive version of that thing, the negative version of that thing in life on the internet, like literally anywhere that you look. And this creates like a huge problem, especially if you're a perfectionist or like wanting to do things in a certain way, because it's impossible to figure out the right way because everyone's talking about a different one or everyone perceives it in a different way. So even if you got it perfect to someone else's standards, the next person in the room is going to tell you that you failed. So what do we do? What could we possibly do with all of this? And my argument is that you will never find answers outside. So stop looking for them outside. Sure, there are general principles to follow, like being healthy has a certain set of principles, but how you approach each one of those things, like what kind of diet do you like that works with your body, that makes you feel good, that is different for everyone. Movement is another like principle, but what kind of movement do you like? Do you like sports? Do you like weightlifting? Do you like running? Do you like walking? Are you not able to do any of those and you have to choose another option that works better for you? In business, you are providing value to someone and they pay you for it. That can happen as a service. It can happen as a digital product. It can happen as a course. It can happen as a community. It can happen in digital life. It can happen in real life. Like these are all like, it's the principles that matter, not how you act on those principles. And those are the things that you have to figure out for yourself. Like in my previous business, did everything right. I scaled, I hired people, and I fucking hated it because it wasn't right for me. So if everything can be true and everything can be false, then the only truth that matters is the one that you create for yourself. And yes, it is difficult because it takes trial and error. It's not as easy as going on Google or going on YouTube or going at AI and asking what's the right way to do this, blah, blah, blah. Because again, there is no right way. But if you see something that seems interesting to you or speaks to you in some way, or you have some like whisper of intuition that comes up, like follow that and see what happens. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't, but now you have information and now you can keep, experimenting with different things to get to where you want to be. And that could change over time also. So even in our own lives, like these rules like are bendable and malleable and they change. So what works for you now might not work for you in 10 years, just like it probably what you're doing now didn't work for you 5 or 10 years ago or when you were a kid or whatever. So stop looking at everybody else and look at yourself, like sit with yourself without the stimulation of all of this shit around you, and just like journal about it or meditate with it or something, some way to get in touch with yourself, to be able to give yourself permission and the ability to start figuring out your own rules and the things that work for you specifically, because nobody else can tell you what that is. I promise that if you keep doing that, something will click and something will make sense and you will figure out how to do whatever it is that you're trying to do. That's all I have for today. I'm sending you all the good vibes and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.